A very warm welcome back to your industry recap. In today's proceedings, there is a route cancellation with Emirates. I know, very rare considering we always see this airline expanding its network, and some bad news surrounding Boeing. Why not get that out of the way first before moving on to the Dubai-based carrier? So, Boeing's attempts to sort itself out as a business are continuing to encounter roadblocks, with overall output targets for the 737 MAX to be delayed once more. Yes, I feel like this is a reoccurring theme, and that's because it probably is if you take a look back at the last few years. Reuters sources state that Boeing is already in the process of informing key suppliers that a production rate milestone will be delayed quite considerably. That latest delay will be 6 months long, but obviously I'll put this out here now that it can easily be pushed back further if situations continue to deteriorate. And the last few months, we know, have been very, very challenging internally. The American plane maker was once more thrown into turmoil at the beginning of 2024 when a MAX experienced a door blowout incident. While this incident would send shockwaves across the industry, internally at Boeing and to the public, finding loose bolts in various jets would probably propel Boeing once more into a world of hurt. From here, it became evident that Boeing could not increase the production of crucial aircraft at the initially intended rate, and that includes the 737 MAX. The Federal Aviation Administration, or just more simply the FAA, a key regulator overseeing Boeing, feared that such an increase would negatively affect the manufacturer's ability to maintain safety and high standards across its aircraft. Again, I know many of you would say that this is something that's been missing for some time. Unfortunately, as a result of these harsh restrictions, Boeing has been barred from production increases. It's therefore delayed output targets, and we're now seeing customers feel the brunt of the pain. The ramifications of Boeing's delayed production increases are larger than just on the plane maker, with suppliers who were already struggling continuing to feel the heat. These suppliers cannot plan accordingly to manage Boeing's delays, which means the process of shipping, producing, and sourcing parts is so much more complicated and affects performance on a monthly basis. Output targets at Boeing have long been an issue, and it seems to be something that just isn't ending. The American plane maker continues to battle that increased oversight that I've spoken of following the incidents, not just this year, but across the last 5. Under new leadership following Dave Calhoun's departure, the focus is on rebuilding supply chain lines, transforming the culture, and producing the best possible aircraft. Ultimately, while these targets are absolutely the right one and the direction that Boeing should be looking to move towards, they are a lot easier said than done, and there is a lot of repair work that must be conducted first. It's hardly going to be an overnight mission. On to the final story, and Emirates is changing up its international route network with the rare axing of a flight to Melbourne, Australia, my home. The Strait Times has reported that Emirates will cease flying between Singapore and Melbourne, a service that originates in Dubai and operates across a triangular route. Emirates had, throughout the 2010s, been known for its triangular flights, with some of the more popular you may recall examples being that A380 service that operated to New Zealand from Dubai. The catch being it stopped over via Australian cities of Brisbane, Melbourne, and Sydney. However, this flight I'm focusing in on today is between Changi and Melbourne, and it has been in operation for nearly 3 decades, this excluding a hiatus during the global pandemic. But now we'll be saying farewell to it for good. At this stage, the Strait Times has not confirmed a date on which the service will conclude, nor Emirates at the time of recording, but I must make this very clear, I am recording this way more than a week in advance before it is going to be published. As I've stated, I am currently traveling and I don't have access to adequate recording equipment, but if there is an update, I'll try my very best to get it down below in the pinned comments. But really, it's going to be determined by capacity commitments, and these capacity commitment reviews will come from the Competition and Consumer Commission of Singapore, CCS for short, which determines the overall route, airline, and impact on consumers and competition, as you probably would have guessed, while also trying to make sure that the playing field is a fair one. Despite Emirates removing itself from the Singapore to Melbourne market, it will still have some form of a presence, just not with its own aircraft. This presence will be achieved through the continued code-sharing arrangements that it'll have with longtime partner Qantas, which shouldn't be going anywhere. The Singapore and Melbourne market is incredibly competitive. I have to state that again. You've probably also seen that there's been a lot of growth between these locations in recent years, whether it be existing airlines upgauging their flights or new ones. Therefore, it's become more competitive and maybe harder to see the same results that a company would have once experienced a decade ago. From Qantas to its low-cost division of Jetstar, to Singapore Airlines and also their low-cost division of Scoot, even to now the newest addition between the two locations, Turkish Airlines. There's some really big companies that I've just mentioned in that bracket. However, Emirates remains more than committed to the Australian market and has very publicly stated that it will continue flying to major capital cities with its aircraft. This upcoming route axing isn't a sign of a departure from the country, it must be said, rather just a refinement of its network and finding ways to best utilise its assets available, and obviously responding to reviews when it comes to overall competition. Thanks for watching, take care, be safe, and I'll see you tomorrow for more industry news.